Step into your greatness, let it shine oh so bright. I am worthy VIP, gonna take you to new heights. Turn the volume up, let's ignite your soul's delight. Join the journey now, everything gonna be alright. Hey, hey, you know you're worthy all day.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today on something you might have heard before. Seeking first the kingdom of God.
Oh, yeah.
Probably heard that before, maybe in like a religious context, but we're going a little deeper today.
Yeah.
We're going beyond that. We're going to be exploring this idea from Myron Golden's YouTube video, what happens when you seek the kingdom of God first.
Okay.
And how that can actually be a powerful principle for success and fulfillment, no matter what you believe in or what your goals are.
That's really interesting, yeah. You often hear about the kingdom of God.
Right.
But what does that even mean? Golden actually starts his video with this really cool story about a queen taking over a building.
Yeah, I was going to say that story really threw me for a loop at first because
Yeah.
I was expecting kind of a classic religious talk, but
Yeah.
it wasn't about that at all.
No, it wasn't.
So if it's not about heaven, then what is the kingdom?
So he explains it as yielding to God as the ultimate authority in our lives. Now, I know that might sound a little intimidating to some people,
Right.
but he frames it in a really empowering way.
Okay.
It's not about giving up control,
Yeah.
but about tapping into this higher power that can actually help you gain more authority over your own life.
So it's like recognizing that there's like a bigger force at play,
Yes.
but instead of feeling powerless,
Right.
you're actually empowered to like rule your own.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like becoming the king or queen of your own thing.
Yeah.
You know, your purpose, your goals.
Right.
Golden emphasizes that each of us has our own assignment in life.
Okay.
And seeking first the kingdom is about aligning ourselves with that assignment
Right.
so we can truly excel in it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's something that a lot of people can connect with, you know? It's like stepping into your full potential by recognizing this higher power, but also your own power within that framework.
Absolutely.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Golden talks about how God's math is usually multiplication, but becomes addition when it comes to material things.
Yes.
Now, I'm no mathematician, but that seems a little counterintuitive.
Uh-huh.
Can you break that down for us?
Yeah. So think of it this way. When we focus solely on getting more stuff,
Okay.
more money, possessions, whatever it is we desire,
Mm-hmm.
we're operating from a place of lack.
Okay.
We're trying to multiply our efforts to get more of what we think we need.
Right.
But Golden suggests that this approach actually limits us.
Because we're so focused on like the getting that we forget about the being.
Precisely.
Okay.
But when we shift our perspective and seek first the kingdom,
Yeah.
when we focus on aligning ourselves with our purpose and becoming the best versions of ourselves,
Uh-huh.
those material things that we desire get added as a natural byproduct.
So it's not about denying our desires for those things,
Right.
but understanding that they're not the primary goal.
Exactly.
Those desires might actually be driving us towards something much bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
But how do we actually shift our perspective? What does Golden say about that?
Well, he talks about developing a kingdom perspective.
A kingdom perspective. Okay.
It's about seeing things from God's point of view,
Okay.
which might sound a little abstract.
Yeah.
But he uses this great analogy of being stuck in a valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can picture myself surrounded by mountains and I can only see what's right in front of me.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
our limited human perspective.
Right.
But the kingdom perspective is like suddenly gaining a bird's eye view of the entire landscape.
Wow. Okay.
We can see the bigger picture, the interconnectedness of things,
Right.
and make decisions from a place of clarity and wisdom.
Wow. That image, that really resonates with me. It's
Yeah.
like when you're planning a trip and
Yeah.
you look at a map to get your bearings, and suddenly all the different routes and destinations make sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
And having that broader perspective can help us navigate the challenges and opportunities in our lives with more confidence and purpose.
This is all starting to click for me.
Good.
So Golden then goes on to talk about a framework,
Yes.
the platform, the parameters, and the power of creation.
Yes.
It sounds a little bit like a blueprint for success. Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. He starts with the platform, which he describes as time, space, and matter.
Okay.
Think of it as the foundation for our existence.
Okay, so it's like the stage is set.
Yes.
But then what? What are these parameters that he mentions?
These are the guidelines.
Okay.
Or you could even say the operating instructions that God gives us in Genesis.
Okay.
Golden highlights 5 key parameters. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, and have dominion.
So it's not just about like existing on this platform, but about taking action and creating something meaningful with the resources that we've been given.
Exactly.
But some of those words, like subdue and have dominion, seem, I don't know, a little harsh.
Okay.
What's Golden getting at there?
Well, it's not about conquering or controlling in like a negative sense.
Okay.
Think of it more like mastering our own potential and overcoming the obstacles that stand in our way.
Okay.
Be fruitful, encourages us to produce and create, multiply points to growth and expansion, replenish the earth, suggests we add value to the world, and subdue and have dominion are about harnessing our inner strength to overcome challenges and ultimately rule our own domain.
So it's about taking ownership of like our lives, our purpose, and our potential, right?
Yes.
But how does all of this relate to the power of creation? Is Golden suggesting that we all have like some kind of divine spark within us?
He certainly seems to think so. He emphasizes that we're made in the image of God.
Right.
Which implies that we have that same creative force within us.
So it's not just about like achieving worldly success, but about tapping into like this higher power to create something truly meaningful and impactful.
Exactly.
But here's something I've been wrestling with.
Okay.
Golden says that our desire for material things is God-given. But isn't that kind of contradictory to the whole idea of seeking first the kingdom?
Yeah, it's an interesting point, right? We're often taught to view material desires as a negative thing, something to be suppressed.
Right.
But Golden flips that on its head.
Okay.
He suggests that those desires are actually meant to motivate us.
Motivate us to do what exactly? Like to work harder and accumulate more stuff?
Well, that's where the brilliance of his argument comes in.
Oh, okay.
He argues that when we try to do more to get more stuff, we eventually hit our limits.
Okay.
We realize that material possessions can only fulfill us to a certain point.
So it's like those desires are a trap, but also like a catalyst.
It is.
A trap because they can lead us down the wrong path, but a catalyst because they eventually force us to look beyond the material and seek something deeper.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Golden suggests that those desires for material things are actually pushing us towards spiritual growth, whether we realize it or not.
This is so thought-provoking.
It is.
So it's not about denying those desires, but understanding their true purpose. To drive us towards becoming more, to align ourselves with our true calling.
Exactly.
And ultimately to seek first the kingdom.
Absolutely.
This whole concept is really shifting my perspective.
It's definitely a powerful way to look at things, and it has implications for everything from our careers to our relationships to our understanding of success itself.
Yeah, and speaking of success,
Yeah.
Golden makes another really intriguing point about how disruption often follows intention.
Yes.
What did he mean by that?
He's saying that when we set out to achieve something meaningful,
Okay.
when we have a clear intention to create or contribute to the world, we're inevitably going to encounter challenges and setbacks.
So those roadblocks, those moments of frustration and doubt are actually signs that we're on the right track.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
That we're pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zone.
So instead of viewing those obstacles as like roadblocks, we can see them as stepping stones.
Yes.
As tests that are designed to make us stronger and more capable.
Precisely.
Okay.
And it's in those moments of adversity that we often discover our true potential.
Right.
Think about a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble.
Okay.
It's a messy, disruptive process, but it's what ultimately reveals the masterpiece within.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah, it is.
So Golden's message is not about avoiding challenges,
Right.
but about embracing them
Yes.
as opportunities for growth and transformation.
Exactly.
It's about trusting that those disruptions, those seasons of disappointing, are actually leading us towards our highest good.
Absolutely. And he reminds us that this whole journey, this process of becoming more, is ultimately about reflecting the image of God.
But what does that actually mean to like reflect the image of God? Does that mean we're all supposed to be like walking around performing miracles?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Golden suggests that it's about expressing our unique talents and abilities in ways that contribute to the world.
Okay.
To create beauty, to solve problems,
yes,
to spread kindness and compassion.
So it's about using our God-given gifts to make a positive impact on the world, to leave it better than we found it. Yeah. It's not just about personal success, but about contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
For sure.
I love that it's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference, no matter our circumstances or background.
Absolutely.
And that those seemingly small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
Golden also talks about the importance of understanding the platform of time, space, and matter that God has provided for us.
Okay.
He says that time is for becoming.
Hold on. Can you repeat that? Time is for becoming.
Time is for becoming.
That's a really intriguing concept.
It is.
What does he mean by that?
He's saying that time is not just a linear progression, but a space for growth, evolution, and transformation. Mm-hmm. It's the stage upon which we become the best versions of ourselves.
So it's not just about managing our time efficiently, but about using it wisely.
Yes.
To nurture our growth and development.
Exactly. And then he goes on to say that space is for doing.
So space isn't just about the physical environment around us, but about the opportunities and possibilities that are available to us. Yeah. It's about taking action.
Yes.
Stepping into our purpose and making things happen.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And finally, he says that matter is for tangible creation.
So matter is like the raw material, the building blocks that we use to bring our ideas to life.
Yes.
To create something tangible and meaningful in the world.
Precisely.
Okay.
And when we combine these three elements, time for becoming, space for doing, and matter for tangible creation.
Right.
We have everything we need to fulfill our purpose and make a real difference in the world.
Wow.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle that we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
Remember how we were discussing the apparent contradiction between desiring material things and seeking first the kingdom?
Yes, I've been thinking about that a lot, actually.
Yeah, the tricky one.
How can those two, seemingly opposing forces coexist?
Well, Golden provides a really insightful explanation.
Okay.
He argues that those desires for material things are actually God-given.
Right.
But they're not meant to be the end goal.
Oh.
They're meant to motivate us to create more value, to serve more people, to contribute to the world in a meaningful way.
So those desires are like a carrot on a stick.
Yeah.
Always dangling, just out of reach. Urging us to keep striving, keep growing, keep pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
And what happens when we focus solely on chasing that carrot?
Yeah.
We eventually realize that it can't truly satisfy us.
Right.
That's when we're forced to look deeper, to seek something more fulfilling, more aligned with our true purpose.
And that's where the concept of seeking first the kingdom comes in.
Exactly.
It's about shifting our perspective, recognizing that true fulfillment comes not from acquiring more stuff, but from aligning ourselves with a higher power and using our gifts to make a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely. And when we operate from that place, when we seek first the kingdom, those material things naturally fall into place as a byproduct.
It's like that saying, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Okay,
but Golden is kind of taking that a step further, showing us how that principle applies to every area of our lives, not just our religious beliefs?
Exactly. He's providing a framework for success and fulfillment that goes beyond the material.
Right.
That taps into our deepest desires and connects us to a higher purpose.
This has been an incredible conversation.
Yes.
Full of mind-blowing insights and practical wisdom.
Yes.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of what it means to seek first the kingdom. And it's so much bigger and more profound than I ever imagined.
You too. It's a really powerful concept.
But before we wrap up, I have one more question that's been bugging me.
Okay.
Golden mentioned that disruption always follows intention.
Yes.
But what happens when those disruptions feel, overwhelming?
Yeah.
How do we keep going when it feels like the universe is throwing everything it has at us?
That's a great question. And I think Golden would agree that those moments of overwhelm are inevitable.
Okay.
It's in those moments that we need to remember the power of the kingdom perspective.
So instead of getting lost in the weeds, we need to step back and look at the bigger picture.
Exactly.
To remind ourselves of our purpose, our calling, and the ultimate good that we're striving for.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's where the parameters come in.
Right.
Remember, those parameters are not just guidelines,
right,
but tools that we can use to navigate those challenging times.
So when we feel like giving up, we can remind ourselves to be fruitful by focusing on what we can create to multiply our efforts, by finding new ways to approach the challenge, to replenish the earth, by adding value to the world, even in the midst of adversity, to subdue those obstacles by tapping into our inner strength, and to have dominion over our own lives by remembering that we have the power to choose our response to any situation.
Beautifully said.
Okay.
And those parameters, combined with the kingdom perspective and the understanding that those disruptions are often a sign that we're on the right track, can help us navigate even the most challenging seasons of our lives.
This is making me realize that true success isn't about avoiding challenges or achieving some arbitrary level of wealth or status.
Right.
It's about aligning ourselves with a higher purpose, using our God-given gifts to make a positive impact on the world, and becoming the best versions of ourselves along the way.
Couldn't say it better myself. And, Golden actually touches on that very idea in his video.
Oh, does he?
He talks about how true success is not just about what we achieve in the world, but about who we become in the process. It's about that internal transformation, that evolution of our character and consciousness.
So it's not just about the destination, but about the journey itself and how that journey shapes us, molds us into the people we're meant to be.
Exactly. And he ties this back to the idea of reflecting the image of God. He says that the more we grow spiritually, the more we become like God, not in a literal sense, but in terms of expressing those qualities of love, creativity, compassion, and wisdom.
That's a really powerful concept. It's like we're all on a path of becoming more divine, of tapping into that source of infinite potential that resides within each of us.
And he emphasizes that this journey is not a solo endeavor. We're all interconnected, part of a larger tapestry of creation. Our actions, our choices, have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
That makes me think about the butterfly effect. How a small action in one part of the world can have massive consequences elsewhere. So even our seemingly insignificant choices can contribute to a better world.
Absolutely. Golden encourages us to embrace this interconnectedness, to see ourselves as part of something much larger than ourselves, and to act accordingly.
So it's not just about personal success, but about collective evolution, about contributing to the betterment of humanity as a whole. That's a really inspiring message.
It is, isn't it? And, Golden ends his video with a really thought-provoking statement. He says, disruption always follows intention.
We talked about that a little earlier, but I'm still not entirely sure what he means by that. Could you elaborate?
I think he's reminding us that whenever we set out to do something truly meaningful, whenever we align our intentions with a higher purpose, we're bound to encounter challenges. It's almost like a law of the universe. The more committed we are to making a positive impact, the more resistance we're likely to face.
So those obstacles, those setbacks, those moments of doubt and frustration are not necessarily signs that we're on the wrong path, but rather indicators that we're on the right track, that we're pushing against the boundaries of our comfort zone, and that we're stretching ourselves to become more than we thought we could be.
Precisely. And I think Golden's message is ultimately one of hope and empowerment. He's reminding us that we have the power to overcome those challenges, to tap into a higher source of strength and guidance, and to create a life that is both successful and fulfilling, both in a worldly sense and in a spiritual sense.
This has been such an incredible deep dive full of mind-blowing insights and practical wisdom. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of what it means to seek first the kingdom, and it's so much bigger and more profound than I ever imagined.
Me too. And I think Golden would be thrilled to know that his message has sparked this kind of deep reflection and conversation.
So to all our listeners out there, as you go about your week, I encourage you to ponder these questions. What does it mean for you to seek first the kingdom? What disruptions are you facing right now that might actually be guiding you toward your true calling? What gifts and talents are you holding back that could be used to make a positive impact on the world?
Keep those questions in mind. And remember that true success is not just about what you achieve, but about who you become along the way.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
Step into your greatness, let it shine oh so bright. I am worthy VIP, gonna take you to new heights. Turn the volume up, let's ignite your soul's delight. Join the journey now, everything gonna be alright. Hey, hey, all day. Stand tall, feel the love come your way. VIP every single day. Let's celebrate, it's your time to sway. Unlock your power, let your spirit take flight. I am worthy, VIP, beaming light into the night. Feel the magic spark, it's a beautiful sight. Here to cheer you on, life shining a new light. Hey, hey, you know you're